Hello champions, Miss Sutherland here. We are going to start off our week of digital learning with math, and we're going to be reviewing some rounding. So I have the definition here for rounding. Rounding is when you make a number simpler, but you keep it close to what it is. We use rounding all the time, and it's a really important skill for us to master. Some important clue words to rounding you will see are right here. Round, estimate, about, approximately. And some real world uses would be like when you go to the grocery store and a recipe tells you you need to use about 14.5 cups of water. When you go to a restaurant and you want to pay your bill, same thing when you're going shopping. You want to make sure you have enough money, so you normally round up. And if you're planning a party, you want to make sure you have enough food. So let's get into the meat of the lesson. So here are some important key directions to rounding. We're going to underline the place it's telling us to round to, and then we're going to circle the number right next door, literally to the right. So we're going to look at the number directly to the right. And then this next part is really important. If that number is greater than or equal to 5, we're going to round up. If not, it's going to stay the same, becomes a 0. So let's practice a problem together. So let's take the number 58. So my first step is to underline the place, and today we're just going to round to the tens. So I know that 58 has 5 tens, so I'm going to underline the tens place, which is 5, and I'm going to circle the number to the right, 8. The 8's going to tell me what to do. Well, what are my two options? 58 is between which two tens? It can go down to 50, or it could round up to 60. Remember, it stays between those two tens right there. So I need to look at the number 8. Is the number 8 greater than or equal to 5? Yes. So that means I'm going to round up to 60. 58 is closer to 60. And that makes sense. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try the number 13. All right, the number 13, let's underline the place. Again, we're rounding to the tens. 13 has 1 10 and 3 ones. I'm going to circle right next door, which would be the 3. So the 3 is going to tell me what to do. Now, before I can tell me what to do, which two tens is 13 between? What are my two options? So it can either round down to 10 or round up to 20. I don't know if you've noticed this, but this number, 1, and this number have been staying the same. So pay attention to that. So let's go back to our circled number. 3. Is 3 greater than or equal to 5? No. So we round down to the number 10, and that makes sense. 13 is closer to 10 than it is to 20. Let's do one more practice problem. So, what would happen if we had the number 50? Number 50 can be rounded. So, I'm going to look and underline the number in the tens place. 50 has 5 tens and 0 ones, so 5 tens. I'm going to circle the ones place because I looked right next door. Now, which two tens is 50 between? Well, it could stay itself at 50 or bounce up to 60. This one seems pretty obvious, but I like to go over it to explain that any number can be rounded. So we look at the circled number. Is 0 greater than or equal to 5? No. So we round down. It stays the same. So some numbers are already rounded. Some numbers do not change. Okay, I have a challenge one for us. Let's see if we can do this one. So, can we round the number 8 to the nearest 10? So, you might be thinking, wait a second, Miss Sutherland, there's nothing in the tens place. It's literally empty space. You're right. There's nothing here. We can add a 0 as a placeholder. 0 as a placeholder. Meaning the number is still 8, even if that 0 is in front. It's not normally the way we see numbers, but for this problem we need it. So let's underline the tens place. The number 8 has 0 tens and 8 ones. Underline the tens. Let's circle right next door the 8. So, which two tens is 8 between? Well, I know 10. What other 10 is it between? It's actually also between 0. I'm going to add, you can just leave it as a 0 like that. You can add another 0 next to it. It would be fine either way. Again, 0 can be a placeholder. So let's look at this circled number 8. Is 8 greater than or equal to 5? Yes. So we round up to 10. How'd you do on that one? Did I trick you? Okay, now it is your turn. What I would like you to try to do is to round the following numbers to the nearest tens place. So you'll see that there are 5 regular problems right here. And I have 2 challenge ones for you. I actually gave you the answer to one of them if you were paying attention. I want you to round those numbers to the tens place as well. I would like you to do all of the steps that I showed you before. So, remembering to underline if I have the number 41. Remember the steps would be to underline the tens place, circle right next door, and then tell me which two tens it comes between, 40 and 50. Okay, I really want you to practice that because it's going to be really helpful to you. Please do this on either notebook paper or keep it somewhere so that tomorrow, on Tuesday when we have our Zoom at 10 o'clock in the morning, we can go over those answers and you can ask me any questions. I will be keeping track of who's doing their work. They're going to get some extra class craft points from me, as well as Dojo, so that when we do come back to school, I want to reward those students who are showing me their work. So, if you need to rewatch this video, please go ahead and start from the beginning. We're just reviewing rounding to the tens place today. And if you have any further questions, you can message me on Dojo. Thanks, champions.